I used to blame sinking energy and bedroom frustration on low testosterone. But here is the quiet danger I kept seeing in my clinic. After 55, the real culprit is sluggish blood flow. And if you fix the highway, your body already knows how to arrive. Before we go any further, here is the first step you can try tonight. Begin restoring circulation not by chasing another hormone test, but by supporting the thin lining of your arteries so they relax on cue, because that is the switch that turns confidence back on. In plain language, erections are a blood flow event that depends on healthy endothelial cells and a steady whisper of nitric oxide. And when that signal fades, the problem shows up long before any lab report does. Over many years with American men in midlife, I kept seeing the same pattern. The drive was still there, but the pipes were stiff, the legs felt heavier on the stairs, and the morning walk was a touch shorter, and the body was simply asking for better circulation. Urology and cardiology groups have said this for a long time. Erectile troubles often travel with the same blood vessel changes that raise heart risk because the smallest arteries fail first, which is why paying attention to blood flow can protect both heart and bedroom at the same time. The strength of this approach is that it works with how your body already heals. It can lower overall cardiovascular risk. It does not force the system like a quick pill, and it gives you energy you can feel in the rest of your day. The limitation is that it is not a magic switch. Some men do have meaningful hormone deficiency or nerve injury, and they need a clinician to check red flags like very low morning energy, loss of body hair, or profound mood change, and anyone on nitrate heart medicine or strong blood pressure drugs must speak with their doctor before adding circulation boosters. Still, most of us can begin safely with small steps that nudge nitric oxide back to life-gentle movement after dinner, unhurried breathing that lengthens the exhale, and a simple red root from the produce aisle that delivers natural nitrates so your vessels remember how to open on their own. I will show you exactly how that food works and why modern research backs it. But for tonight, I want you to hear this. Your body is not broken, your signal is quiet, and when you support blood flow with simple daily choices, the rest of your system often follows. Most men I meet past middle age believe the only way to restore performance is to swallow another little blue pill. But the surprise hidden in your grocery aisle is that a simple red root may quietly outwork those pills by training your vessels to open on command. The danger most do not see is that nitric oxide, the gas that tells arteries to relax, fades with age. And when that whisper goes silent, the body struggles to deliver blood where it matters most. Tonight, you could already begin changing that by sipping a glass of fresh beet juice in the afternoon, because within 2 to 3 hours, the natural nitrates inside will be turned into nitric oxide, a signal your body desperately needs. Researchers at the University of Exeter and at the National Institutes of Health have shown that nitrate-rich foods increase blood vessel flexibility, lower blood pressure, and improve oxygen delivery during exercise, and the same mechanism supports male function. The beauty of beets is that they do not force the door open like medication. They teach your vascular system to remember its rhythm, giving results that last longer and feel more natural. The advantage of this approach is its safety profile and broad benefits. You do not just see improvement in the bedroom, but also in stamina, sleep quality, and even mental clarity. The limitation is patience. It is not an instant switch, and for men with serious vascular disease or those taking strong heart medication, professional guidance is required. I have seen men who thought their only option was another prescription discover that after 3 weeks of adding beet juice, their morning walks felt lighter, their thinking sharper, and their confidence slowly returned. If you start small tonight, letting the crimson juice linger in your mouth before swallowing, you are giving your arteries a chance to wake up again. That is the real story of nitric oxide, a natural signal your body already knows, waiting for you to bring it back. I used to think beetroot was only about nitrates, but the hidden risk many men overlook is that if you focus on one single compound, you miss the orchestra that keeps your vessels alive. What damages circulation with age is not just low nitric oxide, but also oxidative stress, fragile blood cells, and pressure that wears on the arteries. And unless you have the shield of the other nutrients inside this root, the benefits quickly fade. Tonight you can already begin protecting yourself by adding 1 serving of beets blended with citrus, because that combination preserves betalains and folate, 2 defenders your blood system quietly depends on. Betalains are natural pigments that work like a rust-proof coating against free radicals. Folate builds strong red blood cells, so oxygen actually reaches your muscles. Potassium eases the strain on vessel walls by lowering tension, and fiber feeds the good bacteria that complete the conversion of nitrate to nitric oxide. The strength of this approach is that you are not chasing one molecule. You are feeding the entire pathway that makes blood flow smooth and sustainable. And modern studies in journals like Hypertension and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition have confirmed that diets rich in these compounds lower cardiovascular risk. The limitation is that beetroot alone is not a full diet if you depend only on juice without balancing protein, healthy fats, and other vegetables. You may miss essential building blocks, and overdoing raw juice can cause stomach upset in sensitive people. Still, when combined wisely, this crimson root becomes a foundation for resilience, one that supports circulation, immunity, and even energy for daily life. I remember a retired teacher who came to me exhausted, convinced nothing could help, but after she began adding a small glass of beet and orange juice each morning, her blood pressure eased, and she told me her mind felt clearer within weeks. That is the silent shield of beetroot, not a single bullet, but a full package, waiting in plain sight. One of the most dangerous mistakes I see is that men treat beetroot like a quick rescue, swallowing a glass minutes before intimacy as if it were a pill. But the truth is, if you drink at the wrong time, you may feel nothing and wrongly assume the food does not work. The hidden reality is that your body needs hours to convert nitrate into nitric oxide. And unless you respect that rhythm, you cheat yourself out of the benefit. The step you can already try tonight is simple. Drink a small glass in the late afternoon so that by evening your circulation is primed, because research from the University of Exeter shows nitric oxide peaks 2 to 3 hours after intake. The strength of this timing is that it aligns with your body's natural cycle. You enter the night with vessels relaxed and oxygen moving freely, a support not only for performance but also for deeper sleep. The weakness is that timing requires planning, and if you expect an instant effect, you may be disappointed, which is why patience and consistency are part of the lesson here. Another overlooked factor is temperature-fresh juice or powder. Mixed with cold water preserves the nitrate, while cooking can destroy up to 3/4 of it. The benefit of cold preparation is maximum potency, but the downside is that some men with sensitive stomachs may tolerate warm preparations better, so each person needs to test gently. A practical tip from years of practice is to sip slowly and let the juice linger in the mouth before swallowing, because the bacteria on your tongue help start the conversion process, something no pill can mimic. I recall one gentleman who swore beetroot did nothing until he shifted his habit to the afternoon and drank it cool and unhurried. And within weeks he told me his evenings were smoother and his sleep more restful. That is why the how and when matter just as much as the what, and respecting those details turns a simple vegetable into a reliable ally. The danger many men fall into is believing that one food alone will rebuild circulation. But the truth is, your body works like a network of highways, and when you open several routes together, the traffic flows more smoothly. Tonight you could already begin this process by adding a pinch of ginger to your evening beet juice, because that simple step has been shown to thin the blood and reduce inflammation, allowing the nitric oxide from beets to travel farther. Modern research in nutrition journals confirms that when nitrate-rich foods are paired with other natural agents, the effect is not just added, it is multiplied. And this synergy explains why ancient diets often combined roots, fruits, and spices. The strength of this approach is that each ingredient opens a different doorway. Ginger calms inflammation. Watermelon supplies citrulline that the body turns into arginine and then nitric oxide. Dark chocolate protects nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly while easing anxiety. Pomegranate juice boosts nitric oxide production by nearly half, and cayenne pepper gives an instant wave of warmth by opening capillaries. The weakness is that combining too many at once can upset digestion or interact with medications. So moderation and gradual testing are vital, and anyone on blood thinners or blood pressure medication should speak with their doctor before layering these foods. I have seen patients who were disappointed with beetroot alone light up when they paired it with small squares of dark chocolate after dinner, or a slice of watermelon in the afternoon, because the improvements in stamina and mood were unmistakable. The lesson is simple: synergy turns a single instrument into a full orchestra, and when you respect the balance, you create a formula that can rival drugs without the crash. The hidden danger with natural remedies is that men often assume if a little is good, then more must be better. But what I've seen in practice is that when beetroot is taken the same way every single day, the body adapts. The receptors grow dull, and the effect fades. Tonight, you could already begin avoiding that trap by understanding the rhythm of cycling, which means giving your vessels a pause so they stay sensitive to the signal. The strength of this strategy is clear. Research in sports physiology shows that alternating periods of nitrate intake with short breaks restores responsiveness and often makes the benefits stronger after each cycle, while also lowering the risk of tolerance. The weakness is that cycling requires discipline. If you ignore the rest period and keep pushing, you may feel less improvement over time. And if you cut too long, you lose the steady support your vessels crave. A practical rhythm many men follow is to use beetroot for about 3 weeks and then take a full week off, returning with fresher results, though the exact pattern should be personalized with a clinician. Dosage also matters. Men under 180 pounds often do well with about 1.5 teaspoons of beetroot powder. Those closer to 200 pounds may need 2 teaspoons, and heavier men can approach 2.5. But the safest path is to begin low and increase only if tolerated. The benefit of adjusting by weight is that you receive enough to activate nitric oxide without overwhelming your system, but the risk of guessing wrong is stomach upset or dizziness, which is why listening to your body and consulting your doctor matters. I remember a patient who grew frustrated after daily beet juice stopped working, yet once he learned to pause for a week and restart, the results returned even stronger, and he told me it felt like flipping a switch back on. The lesson is simple in circulation. Timing and rhythm count as much as quantity, and when you respect those patterns, you give your body the chance to stay responsive for years instead of weeks. The mistake I often see is that men think any form of beetroot will work the same, but the truth is that the way you prepare it can decide whether you unlock its power or waste it down the drain. Tonight you could already take a simple step by blending 2 medium beets with 1 orange and a slice of ginger, because that mix delivers nitrate, vitamin C, and natural enzymes that keep the vessels wide open. Fresh juice is the gold standard. It carries the highest nitrate load and reaches the bloodstream quickly, and many of my patients tell me they feel a lightness in their legs within days. The advantage of juice is potency and fast absorption, but the weakness is convenience. It takes time to wash, peel, and clean up, and if you leave it sitting too long, the nitrate drops quickly. That is where powder has its place. Pure, organic beetroot powder stirred into cold water with a squeeze of lemon can be ready in seconds, making it a lifeline for busy mornings or travel. The strength of powder is consistency and ease, but the limitation is that not all brands are equal. Some are diluted, some contain fillers, and if you mix it with milk, you block the very conversion you are aiming for. A small trick I recommend is to let the juice or powder mixture rest for a few minutes and then sip slowly, holding each mouthful before swallowing, because your tongue bacteria are part of the conversion team. I recall one man in his 70s who resisted trying beets until his daughter made him a fresh juice after breakfast. And by the next week, he was the one reminding her to buy more. telling me he had energy he had not felt in years. That is the point. Preparation is not just detail. It is the bridge between theory and real benefit. And when you respect those details, the crimson root becomes more than a vegetable. It becomes a daily ritual of strength. The hidden danger with any powerful natural food is the belief that because it grows from the ground it must be harmless. But I have watched men land in the emergency room when they piled beetroot on top of blood pressure pills or nitrate-based heart medicine, and their pressure dropped too low. Tonight, you could already protect yourself by doing the simplest step. Call your doctor before adding beetroot if you are on heart medication, because safety is not a barrier. It is the bridge that lets you use this gift without fear. The strength of beetroot is that it is generally safe for most healthy adults, and its benefits stretch far beyond circulation into energy, mood, and heart health. The weakness is that in certain bodies, it can trigger unwanted drops in pressure or digestive upset if taken in excess, which is why listening to your own signals matters. Another fear I often hear is when urine or stool turns reddish, a harmless phenomenon called bituria, and I reassure patients that this is not blood but simply pigment passing through. Storage also matters. Beetroot powder should be kept in a cool, dry place away from sun, and fresh juice should be consumed within hours because nitrate content falls quickly. I remember a man who almost gave up because the red urine frightened him, but once he understood it was benign, he laughed and told me it was a small price to pay for the energy he now felt. The larger lesson is that beetroot works best when woven into a healthy lifestyle: steady exercise, green vegetables, deep sleep, and stress control. The advantage is that it amplifies what you are already doing right, but the limitation is that it cannot cancel out smoking, heavy drinking, or a sedentary life. In the end, what I tell every patient is that small daily choices matter more than grand gestures, and even a spoonful of beetroot mixed with cool water each morning can be the first step toward a stronger heart, a clearer mind, and a more confident body. Your body is not broken. It is waiting for you to give it the chance, and that chance begins with one deliberate choice tonight.